I'm Jim Collison, and this is the Wellbeing at Work with CliftonStrengths podcast recorded on February 9th, 2022. In this CliftonStrengths podcast, we'll look at the strengths, insight, and action planning items from Appendix 1 in the Gallup book, Wellbeing at Work, one theme at a time, and today's theme is focus. If you're listening live, love you if you join us in our chat room. Just a link right above me there. Or if it's after the fact and you're listening in the podcast, you can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Dr. Jacqueline Robinson is our host today. She works as a Gallup Learning and Development Consultant and is a primary contributor to Appendix 1 in the Wellbeing at Work. Jacqueline, it's great to see you and welcome back.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be here.
Good to have you. We are talking about focus, which I have none of. So why don't you tell me what I don't have any of?
Indeed. So we know that people that lead with focus can take a direction, follow through, and make the corrections necessary to stay on track. We like to think of this individual as someone that prioritizes and then they act.
Yeah, I have a lot of envy around this one. I wish I had more of it, and I use it in others. Let's talk a little bit about how does it relate to you and how does it relate to others?
If I think about how this relates to you, if you lead with focus, you likely find it quite enjoyable to be able to set goals for yourself. Prioritization and creating milestones to then achieve those goals helps you achieve them. How it relates to others can depend on you to keep everyone moving in the right direction. So when the path seems unclear, we've witnessed a lot of that in the last couple of years, you might bring clarity by asking, hey, what's the outcome that we're trying to achieve here? Or what's the goal that we're trying to achieve? And you can quickly bring everyone back into that, the right direction or on the right path.
Super helpful from that standpoint. We're talking this season a lot about well-being, and so we spend some time, thinking about focus in terms of thriving versus struggling. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So someone thriving with focus is when they have personal and professional goals in mind and can create stepping stones to bring them to fruition for themselves or the team. And then almost alternatively, or on the other end of the spectrum, this person can really find it difficult to operate in unknown circumstances, or when the end goal is unclear or being established along the way. That can make it very difficult to set priorities and action plan. I would say that they also might struggle in an environment where distractions are prevalent or present, which could disrupt their thought process or workflow. It's more or less dependent on that person with focus. Some will say, hey, that's white noise, I can block it out. And others say, no, even hearing, just a little bit of chatter in the office can be distracting, or having my kids run around while I'm trying to work.
Yeah, during the last couple of years, it's been a tale of two cities. I think some folks who had high focus in the office came home and lost it or got even more of it, right? They got away from the office chatter, so to speak, or the distraction that were in the office, right? And they were able to, it was better for them. And so I think it wasn't the same for everybody, right? As we think about that, we have some best practices in the back in Appendix 1. We kind of break each theme down, and for each of the 5 elements, pillars, I like to call them, of well-being, we have one of those and some examples. Maybe if focus is, you're struggling with your well-being for focus, it'd be a good place to go. But Jacqueline, work us through, which one of those did you pick for focus?
I chose social well-being this time around.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like we hone in and we'll touch on career a lot this evening. But with social well-being, this person can oftentimes become so fixated on personal or professional goals that they lose sight of their relationships. So coaching them to pay attention to who they are with in the moment can be really helpful. Just redirecting that focus and being with that person, focusing on the person. Using focus in a different way.
Yeah. Well, I have so little of it. And when somebody actually does that for me, like it draws me in. Micah used to say that strong teams are a magnet for talent. And I think an individual who has focus and can really kind of hone in on you in a conversation is very attractive, I think, for some people. In other words, because we lack so much of it. In social circles, everyone's distracted, seemingly checking their phone or right? Texts coming in or whatever we're trying to do. So I think, man, I love that thought that in these areas of social well-being, both for the individual,
Mhm.
right? And even for then giving back the we version of this, right? That we always talk about the me and the we of someone with focus thinking of we. How could I really put attention on some? I don't know. You want to add anything else
Yes.
to that?
No, I think that's spot on. And those with focus probably know. I know I'll be guilty of this too. Is you just get immersed in something, and it's really hard to want to pull yourself away from it because you just want to finish that one target goal that you've set for
Yeah.
yourself or that one task. So when you can just take a step back and find enough of a stopping point to just immerse
Mm.
yourself with that person, it really does end up feeding you in those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. We
Good
have
point.
the other four elements are there in the back of the book, Wellbeing at Work in Appendix 1.
Yes.
Great coaching tool for individuals as you're working through. You can just open to that as we're thinking about theme and theme development and work them through with that. Jacqueline,
Hmm.
so for those with focus, how can it be used to support others? Because I think we alluded to this just a second ago, but
Hmm.
what other else in this construct that we have, how can it be used to support others?
Well, if you're a manager, you're leading a team with the natural talent for prioritization and goal setting, you can help employees find clarity in the work they're doing by, really helping them delegate, eliminate, or what I'll say, elevate certain tasks based on priority. Additionally, you can help them shape their personal and professional goals during those performance conversations. Some might already know where they're going, and some might really need some assistance, and that's where you can really come in. If you're on a team, when the team feels a bit confused or directionless, you can really help them refocus. Questions you might ask are, what are our top priorities and what isn't that we can just kind of let fall to the wayside a little bit, or push down our list. And then what obstacle or miscommunication has sidelined the team? What's
Mm.
the best course of action to stay on the path? So you can help them find clarity by asking some of those questions and helping them sort. As an individual, when you are clear on your goals and responsibilities that you hold day to day, and they're all in alignment, that's when you tend to feel like you're on fire and you feel great. If that road becomes unclear, I would say to remember to carve out time in the day or the week, or to look at your list to see what you need to sort through that needs to be moved or prioritized. Because sometimes if you're just too caught up in the day to day and you don't have that time and space to just step back and say, wait, how have my priorities shifted? That can create some anxiety or a little bit of discontent.
There's you mentioned we mentioned this kind of a little bit earlier as we think about focus in teams. And
Mhm.
I said I was going to watch chat, but Lisa had asked this question about agility, and I think it's good to add in because we've moved. A lot of teams have moved to this agile methodology, and
Mhm.
pivoting fast, failing early, those kinds of things. But that doesn't necessarily mean a lack of focus, right? I
Mhm.
mean, as we think about agility, making a decision to change and then focusing in on it as we think about how it can be
Mhm.
used to support others. In sometimes I think in those agile circles, we just think it means craziness. Like everybody does what they want because we're agile. And I think it's actually the exact opposite. When the team makes a decision to pivot, everybody pivots together at the same time doing the same thing. And I think someone with focus can bring that clarity, right?
Mhm.
We used to talk about this in Theme Thursday about sorting, and so folks with focus can sort to the priority and then keep individuals or keep a team or keep a manager on task, right? To get I
Yes.
mean, I'm not saying that managers don't always stay on task, but they don't always stay on task, right?
Yep.
And so I think someone with focus can help out in that way. Anything else you'd add to that?
No, I think that's true too. If there's a goal or an intention in mind of why that change is being created, someone with focus they have the flexibility to go with the obstacles and stay on track. It's
Yeah.
just what's that outcome we're trying to achieve, or what's the north star, so that I can make sure we're continuously walking that path, even if we have to go down this walkway instead of this walkway.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love it. In Appendix 2, we have a framework that we're working through some just a simple framework. Again, coaches, I'd
Mhm.
encourage you to grab that framework as you're spending time coaching individuals. It's a great one to work us through. With focus, work us through that framework, Jacqueline.
Yeah. So if you are looking at the back of the appendix, I selected from career and financial for these two. So, or for these three. So for ask yourself, what goals will I achieve today? Makes sense with focus. That might be something that's going to be on their mind. Ask your team members, how can we support each other in our pursuit of our financial goals? So for this one, I will just kind of create a caveat here. Some of you probably have some great friends at work, and someone is about to celebrate an upcoming wedding, or someone's about to celebrate a child, or they want to buy a home. And so just knowing that naturally about each other with your focus, you can really help them stay on course. And then celebrate when it comes to seeing those achievements come to fruition.
Mhm.
So that is the best practice piece too, is once, everyone has, or, as you're going along, folks have achieved their financial achievements, celebrate with each other. Celebrate with a baby shower or celebrate with a housewarming once that
Mm.
goal has been seen. Fun. There's ways that we can make financial well-being
Yeah.
fun and a little more carefree than sometimes we think that it's really stodgy or cold and we shouldn't talk about it.
Tax time here in the United States, and I always fret that. What you're saying to me is I need to
There
have
we
a
go.
party after I do my taxes, right?
Exactly.
That's what you're saying?
Find the person with focus that will make sure you do it, do your taxes
Mhm.
and file on time,
I
and
know.
yeah,
I know.
celebrate.
Or borrow that, from some friends, or figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah.
I love that you kinda highlight, oftentimes I think, and especially with focus, I think people see this who have it as a burden, right? They have
Mhm.
been beaten down by non-focused people in the past. Like, "Oh, don't be so rigid," right? Or, "Oh, don't be so controlling," right? They don't wanna be kept on task. And I listen, I think we in groups, in our circles, we
Mhm.
need those. It's a superpower I covet. I mean, I just when I find that in someone, Ryan Wolf is who's been on the program before, he's
Yes.
my discipline focused guy, and I just love it. So it's a great opportunity. Any last
There's
thoughts on this, Jacqueline, before we wrap it?
no. That's all for me over here.
All right. With
What a time to use it. What a time to lean into it when people are looking for
Yeah.
direction and where are we heading into 2022?
There's always times to use it.
Mhm.
That's the great thing about these 34. There's
Exactly.
always right. There's
That's
always
true.
opportunities, and I think, I think let me encourage, just because all these themes have a way of being beaten down by others,
Mhm.
and I think we need to find positive ways to reinforce them. Your key of recognition. I just got done teaching some students a leadership seminar last week. We talked a little bit about using recognition on teams as an accelerant for team growth. And
Mhm.
I think, especially on this, when we see focus in the wild, let's celebrate it, because I think it's pretty great. So
Cheers
with,
to that.
with that, we'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources we do have available in Gallup Access. A lot of the stuff that we talk about, we do. There's resources available there for that. Gallup.com/CliftonStrengths. For coaching, master coaching, or if you want to become a Gallup certified strengths coach, we can do that for you as well. Send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Join us on any social platform by searching Clifton Strengths. If you want to find this podcast, you should subscribe to it. It's called Clifton Strengths Podcast. Get it on any player that's available there. And we want to thank you for joining us today. If you found this helpful, we
Mhm.
just ask that you'd share it. We'll do a little bit of mid show for those staying around, listening live. And with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.